Across the windswept plains of humanity's story, certain questions echo through the ages, questions about our origins, our purpose, and the ultimate meaning of our lives. For millennia, seekers have looked skyward, turning to faith and spirit to find answers. Among our most profound companions on this journey are the great world religions, spiritual movements that have shaped civilizations, seeded cultures, and anchored the hopes of billions. But who were the visionaries at their foundations? Who emerged from obscurity to guide the hearts of millions, to offer revelations, teachings, and sacred paths that forever transform the human journey? Today we walk the ancient roads of origin, seeking the founders, named and unnamed, who gave birth to Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, and Judaism. Each path begins with a question, a quest, and a turning point. Let us step into the deep twilight of history, where myth, mystery, and memory entwine, and listen for the voices who called us toward the divine, the founder of Christianity, Jesus Christ. In the hill country and dusty lanes of first-century Palestine, a stirring began, gentle but world-shaking in its consequences. At the heart of this movement stands Jesus of Nazareth, known to the faithful as Jesus Christ, whose life and message would bridge heaven and earth. Born into humble circumstances under the gaze of the Roman Empire, Jesus was a teacher, healer, and according to his followers, the Word made flesh, the incarnation of God's love. From the fields of Galilee to the bustling courts of Jerusalem, Jesus proclaimed a radical message of compassion, forgiveness, and the arrival of God's kingdom. He turned traditional ideas upside down. The last would be first, the meek would inherit the earth, and love, boundless, self-giving love, would fulfill the law. His words ignited hearts and challenged power, welcoming outcasts and calling the righteous to humility. But it was his death and the mystery that followed that would etch his legacy into the destiny of humanity. Betrayed and crucified, yet said to have risen again, Jesus' followers soon proclaimed him not only rabbi and prophet, but Savior and Son of God. Inspired by the presence of the Spirit, the early Christian community spread through the Roman world, enduring persecution, forging creeds, and composing the New Testament's sacred pages. From a small circle of friends and disciples, Christianity unfurled into cathedrals and countrysides, touching every corner of the globe. Jesus, called Christos, the Anointed One, became the axis around which faith, culture, and conscience would revolve for centuries to come. The founder of Islam, Prophet Muhammad. Some 600 years after the birth of Christianity in the arid heartlands of Arabia, another solitary figure would awaken the world to a new horizon of faith. His name was Muhammad, born in the city of Mecca around the year 570 CE. Orphaned early, yet renowned for his honesty and mercy, Muhammad lived as a merchant until, at the age of 40, a night of destiny changed everything. On that fateful night, Muslims believe, the angel Gabriel appeared to Muhammad, commanding him to recite. It was the beginning of a lifelong mission, receiving and proclaiming the revelations that would become the Quran, Islam's holy book. For more than 2 decades, Muhammad called the people of Arabia toward the worship of one God, Allah, rejecting the idols and injustices of his time. His message was uncompromising: submit to God's will, practice charity, seek justice, and honor the bonds of community. Muhammad's role was that of prophet and final messenger, the seal of the prophets, whose revelations completed the succession of earlier prophets, including Abraham, Moses, and Jesus. Despite fierce opposition, Muhammad's example and words united tribes, toppled entrenched divisions, and offered a vision of universal brotherhood under the banner of Islam. Within his lifetime, Islam grew from a fragile community to a sweeping force, destined to reshape continents. After his death in 632 CE, his followers, guided by the Quran and his own example, expanded the faith far and wide, founding civilizations renowned for their learning, art, and devotion. Muhammad's legacy is woven into the very essence of Muslim identity. He is honored as a mercy to humankind, a vessel of revelation, and the founder who called the world to surrender, or Islam, before the one true God. The founder of Buddhism, Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, travel now, if you will, beyond the sands of Arabia to the green valleys at the foot of the Himalayas. Here in the 6th century BCE, A prince named Siddhartha Gautama embarked on a quest that would illuminate the suffering and the potential of every sentient being. Born amid luxury but troubled by visions of sickness, aging, and death, Siddhartha left behind palace walls to seek answers that neither pleasure nor material comfort could give. For years, he wandered among ascetics and sages, mastering disciplines and probing the mysteries of existence. Finally, beneath the sheltering branches of the Bodhi tree, Siddhartha attained a luminous awakening, a profound insight into the causes of suffering and the path that leads beyond its grip. He became the Buddha, the awakened one. The Buddha's teachings, preserved as the Dharma, spoke of four noble truths. Suffering is woven into the fabric of life. Suffering springs from craving and attachment. Liberation is possible, and there is a way forward. The noble eightfold path of right understanding, ethical living, and deep meditation. Unlike a creator god, Buddha was not worshipped as a deity, but revered as a guide and teacher, a physician of the soul. Through his wise speech and gentle presence, he gathered a community of monks and laypeople who aspired to inner peace, compassion, and enlightenment. The impact of Buddha's awakening rippled beyond northern India, washing across Asia and the world. His legacy flourishes in temples, monasteries, and meditation halls, in the quiet search for wisdom and the resolve to end all suffering. Though he asked his followers to be a lamp unto yourselves, the Buddha's light remains a beacon upon the pathless shore. The ancient roots of Hinduism, a tradition without a single founder. Not every river of faith begins at a single spring. Some, like Hinduism, slip forth from many sources, ancient, sacred, and intertwined, without an individual founder whose memory we can recover. Instead, Hinduism is a vast, living tradition, rooted in the remote mists of Indian prehistory and shaped by countless sages, poets, and seekers. The earliest echoes of Hindu faith are heard in the Vedas, a fourfold collection of hymns and rituals composed over 3,000 years ago. But these sacred texts reflect not the work of a single prophet, but the layered wisdom of generations. Through shifting centuries, Hinduism absorbed new discoveries, growing as a forest does, branch by branch. The Upanishads, philosophical texts composed circa 800-200 BCE, deepen the mystical inquiry into the nature of soul, cosmos, and the supreme reality known as Brahman. Across time, new paths unfolded. The devotional worship of gods like Vishnu, Shiva, and the Great Mother Goddess. The philosophical explorations of karma, reincarnation and liberation, moksha. The epic tales of the Ramayana and Mahabharata, including the beloved Bhagavad Gita, a dialogue on duty, faith, and destiny. Hindu tradition honors countless rishis and sages, Vyasa, Valmiki, Shankara, Ramanuja, each leaving distinct melodies in the spiritual symphony. Thus, Hinduism is not the legacy of a single voice, but of a living multitude, a chorus of spiritual explorers who asked, "Who am I? What is reality?" It is a mosaic of the one and the many, the timeless and the evolving, a testament to the creativity of the human soul and its endless dance with the divine. The patriarchs of Judaism, Abraham, Moses, and covenant origins. Return now to the desert, where ancient herdsmen gazed at endless stars. Here, among the windswept tents of the Near East, arose the first seeds of a sacred inheritance, a covenant people whose story would shape 3 religions and half the world's history. Judaism, among the world's oldest monotheistic faiths, looks not to a single founder, but to a lineage of patriarchs, prophets, and holy dreams. At the dawn stands Abraham, called by God and promised a place in a destiny larger than any tribe or tongue. Abraham journeyed from Ur into the land of Canaan, guided by faith and a vision of one God, the unseen source behind all creation. Through circumcision and covenant, he became the father of a people, the fountainhead from whom both tradition and progeny would flow. Generations later, a child named Moses would be born into slavery in Egypt, drawn from the reeds and destined to confront Pharaoh. Through miracle and perseverance, Moses became the liberator of Israel, receiving the 10 Commandments atop Sinai in thunder and fire. Moses is revered as the lawgiver, the transmitter of Torah, whose wisdom sustains Jewish life to this day. But Judaism is more than stories of great men. It is a web of covenants, laws, rituals, and prayers. Prophets like Isaiah, Elijah, and Daniel added new layers of vision, hope, and moral challenge. Through struggle and survival, exile, return, and diaspora, the Jewish people have marked their identity not by conquest, but by faithfulness. To covenant, to memory, to the one God who weaves history toward justice and compassion. From Abraham to Moses and beyond, Judaism's founders are remembered less as solitary originators than as links in a living chain, bound by promise and perseverance, forever renewing the call to walk in God's ways and to be a light to the nations. Final thoughts and reflections. From the humble carpenter of Galilee to the seeker beneath the Bodhi tree, from the inspired prophet of Arabia to the nameless sages of Vedic India, from the patriarchs who heard the whispered call of the divine, each founder and tradition has shaped not only beliefs, but civilizations. They have kindled new moral visions, built temples and cities, offered ethical codes, and revealed life's deepest possibilities. Yet, for all their differences in language, ritual, and doctrine, their quest remains the same: to know the truth, to find peace, and to open the heart to wonder in the sacred. What is it that draws humanity, generation after generation, to these luminous beacons? Perhaps it is the longing to make sense of suffering, joy, and love, the hope that our lives are woven into meaning, or the intuition that across all diversity, there is a reality larger than ourselves. As we honor the founders and traditions of Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, and Judaism, let us also remember the countless unnamed billions who have carried the flame, mothers and fathers, teachers and monks, poets and pilgrims. Their prayers, their doubts, their acts of mercy renew the promise of faith with every dawn. Thank you for journeying with us into the heart of sacred history. Share your reflections in the comments. Which founder or tradition speaks to your heart? What questions guide your own search for meaning? Like, share, and subscribe to Faith and Life, and walk with us on the path of wisdom, wonder, and the world's living faiths. Until next time, may peace and light accompany your journey.